I think it's very important that tradition stays, and tradition has a huge part of all this. But there's also points where you look at tradition and go, is that still fit for purpose today? Is that still the right thing to do? Are we still doing and having the most impact we could be having?
A single secret test just blew up the royal family, and the fallout is unthinkable. In this fictional, dramatic story, Princess Charlotte receives DNA results so shocking they rewrite everything she believed about her father. Sources say tears, silence, and then one chilling decision. She cuts off everyone. No palace protection. No second chances.
What is the early years? Help. With a wonderful emoji at the end of it. I suppose we're looking at it from pregnancy through to the age of 5, so through to children starting school.
As whispers turn to chaos, one question burns louder than ever. Was the truth hidden in plain sight all along? The British royal family has long been a subject of fascination, controversy, and speculation around the world. Throughout history, the monarchy has faced numerous challenges, from abdication crises to marital scandals. However, a recent situation involving Princess Charlotte, the young daughter of Prince William and Catherine, Princess of Wales, has reportedly emerged as one of the most delicate and unprecedented challenges the institution has faced in modern times. According to sources close to the royal household, the situation began in early 2025 when the royal children underwent routine medical screenings. These comprehensive genetic tests are standard protocol for members of the royal family, designed primarily to identify any hereditary health conditions that might require monitoring or early intervention. For Prince George and Prince Louis, the results were apparently unremarkable and raised no concerns among the medical team. However, Princess Charlotte's results allegedly contained unexpected findings. Medical professionals reviewing her genetic profile reportedly discovered markers that appeared inconsistent with her official parentage. More specifically, the genetic analysis suggested that Prince William might not be her biological father. This discovery, initially confined to a small circle of medical professionals and senior royal advisors, would eventually set in motion a series of events that nobody could have anticipated. The situation might have remained completely confidential, handled discreetly within the upper echelons of palace management, had it not been for Charlotte herself. Now at an age where she receives education in basic sciences, including elementary genetics. The young princess apparently overheard a private conversation between her parents and the royal physicians. The discussion, though conducted in careful terms, was reportedly clear enough for Charlotte to grasp the fundamental issue being discussed. The impact on the royal household was immediate and profound. Prince William and Catherine quickly cancelled all scheduled public appearances, citing the need to attend to urgent private family matters. This sudden withdrawal from public duties, unusual for two of the most visible and dedicated working royals, sparked immediate speculation in media circles, though the true nature of the crisis remained unknown to the public. King Charles, who was undertaking a diplomatic visit to Australia at the time, was informed of the situation and made the extraordinary decision to cut short his trip and return to London immediately. For a monarch to disrupt a carefully planned state visit speaks volumes about the gravity of the situation. The disruption to such high-level diplomatic engagements is not taken lightly and typically only occurs in cases of genuine emergency. Upon his return, an emergency meeting was convened at the palace, bringing together the most senior members of the royal family along with their most trusted legal and constitutional advisors. The discussions during these closed-door sessions reportedly focused on multiple dimensions of the crisis. Beyond the obvious personal and emotional implications for the family, there were serious constitutional questions to consider regarding Charlotte's position in the line of succession. What made this situation particularly challenging was Princess Charlotte's own response to the revelation. Despite her young age, sources suggest she demonstrated a level of maturity and decisiveness that surprised the adults around her. Rather than simply accepting reassurances or explanations from her parents, Charlotte reportedly expressed that she could no longer authentically participate in royal duties or maintain her royal identity, believing her entire life had been founded on a fundamental untruth. This response from such a young person presents the royal family with a unique dilemma. Throughout history, the monarchy has dealt with adults who wish to step back from royal life, most recently with Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. However, a child making such a decision, particularly one directly related to questions of parentage and identity, creates unprecedented challenges both for the family and for the institution itself. The question of Charlotte's biological parentage naturally became a subject of intense speculation, though palace sources have remained notably tight-lipped about any details. Royal observers and commentators began examining the period leading up to Charlotte's birth in May 2015, noting that this timeframe coincided with what some reports had suggested were difficulties in William and Catherine's marriage. While such reports were firmly denied at the time, they have resurfaced in light of recent events. Among the names that have been mentioned in private conversations among those close to royal circles is James Matthews, a financier who later married Catherine's sister, Pippa Middleton, in 2017. Matthews and Catherine were known to move in similar social circles before his relationship with Pippa became public. However, it must be emphasized that no concrete evidence of anything beyond ordinary social acquaintance has ever been presented or confirmed. Interestingly, Matthews has apparently become very difficult to reach since rumors began circulating. His office has issued only brief statements indicating he is traveling for business purposes for an indefinite period. His wife Pippa has similarly withdrawn from public view, reportedly staying with her parents along with their children. While these actions have fueled speculation, they could equally be explained as a desire to avoid becoming entangled in rumors and media attention. From a constitutional perspective, the situation raises complex legal questions. Under British law, children born within a marriage are legally presumed to be the offspring of that marriage, regardless of biological reality. This principle, established over centuries of common law, would technically mean that Charlotte's place in the line of succession remains secure, as she was born to married parents and is legally the daughter of Prince William. However, the practical reality extends far beyond legal technicalities. The British monarchy, unlike many other institutions, relies heavily on public acceptance and the perception of legitimacy. A princess who openly questions her own royal status and seeks to distance herself from the family creates challenges that cannot be resolved through legal arguments alone. The monarchy's strength has always rested not merely on law, but on tradition, public support, and the careful maintenance of an image of stability and continuity. The situation also highlights the changing nature of royal life in the modern era. In previous generations, such matters would likely have been handled with absolute secrecy, and family members, regardless of age, would have been expected to conform to whatever official narrative was established. Today, with greater emphasis on individual autonomy, mental health, and personal authenticity, even a royal child's wishes and feelings carry weight in ways they might not have decades ago. For Catherine, this situation represents an extraordinarily painful personal crisis. She has built her public image around being a devoted, hands-on mother who prioritizes her children's well-being above all else. Sources describe her as spending considerable time attempting to help Charlotte process the situation, trying to explain the complexities of adult relationships and emphasizing that family bonds transcend biology. These conversations have reportedly been emotionally charged and largely unsuccessful in changing Charlotte's position. Princess Charlotte's response to the revelation about her parentage has been remarkable, not only for its clarity, but for the specific demands she has reportedly made. According to sources familiar with the situation, the young princess has requested to live with her maternal grandparents, Michael and Carol Middleton, at their home in Berkshire, rather than continuing to reside at Adelaide Cottage with her immediate family. This request alone represents a significant break from royal protocol and family structure. Additionally, Charlotte has asked to be withdrawn from her current school to avoid the inevitable media attention and scrutiny that would follow once news of the situation became more widely known. Perhaps most striking is her reported refusal to respond to her royal title or to participate in any official royal ceremonies or engagements. For a child who has been raised with an understanding of duty and service as central family values, this represents a fundamental rejection of the role she was born into. One particularly poignant detail that has emerged from palace sources involves a statement Charlotte allegedly made during discussions with her parents. She reportedly told them that she does not want to pretend anymore, a simple but devastating expression of how the revelation has affected her sense of self and authenticity. For a child of her age to articulate such feelings demonstrates both emotional intelligence and a deep sense of betrayal that even adults might struggle to express. The impact of this crisis on Princess Catherine has been profound and deeply personal. As someone who has carefully cultivated an image as a stable, devoted mother and a modernizing force within the royal family, Catherine now finds herself at the center of a situation that threatens both her personal relationships and her public standing. Those close to her describe a woman caught between multiple conflicting loyalties and facing impossible choices. Catherine has reportedly been spending hours each day attempting to communicate with Charlotte, trying to bridge the emotional distance that has opened between them. These conversations have focused on helping Charlotte understand that adult relationships are complicated, that mistakes happen, and that the bonds between parents and children run deeper than biology. However, these attempts at reconciliation have met with limited success. Charlotte, despite her youth, appears to have formed a fixed view of the situation that is proving difficult to shift. Perhaps the most painful aspect of this situation for Catherine involves a question that Charlotte reportedly posed to her mother during one of their conversations. According to sources, Charlotte asked if everyone had lied about who her father is. What else have they lied about? For a parent who has consistently emphasized honesty and direct communication with her children, this question cuts to the very heart of the parent-child relationship. The fact that Catherine was reportedly left speechless by this question suggests the depth of the wound this situation has created within the family. Prince William's response to the crisis reveals the complex position he occupies as both a father and a future king. On a personal level, sources describe him as devastated by the revelation and the circumstances surrounding it. The sense of betrayal he must feel regarding the circumstances of Charlotte's conception, combined with watching his daughter reject her identity and place in the family, represents a profound personal crisis. However, William has reportedly been unequivocal in his stance regarding Charlotte herself. Despite whatever personal pain he may be experiencing, he has consistently maintained that biology is irrelevant to his feelings. He considers Charlotte his daughter, loves her unconditionally, and is determined to protect her well-being regardless of what genetic testing might indicate. This position reflects both his personal character and perhaps lessons learned from his own childhood, having witnessed the destructive impact of family discord played out in public. In private meetings with royal advisors and palace officials, William has reportedly insisted that any approach to managing this situation must prioritize Charlotte's emotional and psychological well-being above institutional concerns. This stance has created tension with some of the more traditional voices within the royal household, who view the succession implications and institutional stability as paramount concerns that cannot be subordinated to individual feelings, even those of a child. William's decision to step back from several significant royal engagements to focus on family matters during this period represents an extraordinary acknowledgement of the crisis's severity. Throughout his adult life, William has been trained to place duty and service above personal considerations. His choice to prioritize his family situation over official responsibilities signals that this is not merely another manageable royal difficulty, but a genuine emergency requiring his full attention. The constitutional implications of Charlotte's situation extend beyond the immediate family crisis into questions about the very nature of monarchical succession and legitimacy. Charlotte currently holds the position of third in line to the throne, following her father and her older brother George. Questions about her parentage, therefore, have direct relevance to the constitutional order, even if she is unlikely ever to actually ascend to the throne, given her position in the line. Constitutional experts have noted that British law provides clear guidance on this matter. Children born within a marriage are legally presumed to be the children of that marriage, and this presumption applies regardless of biological paternity. Under this legal framework, Charlotte's place in the succession would technically remain secure. She was born to married parents, and the law recognizes her as the legitimate daughter of Prince William, making questions of DNA testing legally irrelevant to her status. However, the gap between legal technicality and practical reality looms large in this situation. The British monarchy, unlike many other institutions, does not derive its legitimacy purely from legal statutes. Instead, it rests on centuries of tradition, public acceptance, and carefully maintained perceptions of continuity and legitimacy. When a member of the royal family, even a young one, publicly questions or rejects their own position, it creates challenges that cannot be resolved through legal arguments alone. The unprecedented nature of Charlotte's actions creates particular difficulties. If she continues to refuse her title, decline to participate in royal duties, and insist on living apart from the immediate royal household. The palace faces uncomfortable questions about how to explain her absence from family events and public life. The royal family has traditionally presented a united front, with members understanding that personal preferences must sometimes yield to institutional requirements. Charlotte has reportedly relocated, at least temporarily, to her grandparents' home in Bucklebury, Berkshire. The Middleton family home represents familiar territory for Charlotte, who has spent considerable time there throughout her childhood. Sources close to the family describe her as experiencing a complex mixture of relief and disorientation in her new circumstances. Away from the formal structures and security protocols of royal residences, Charlotte has apparently been engaging in activities that most children her age take for granted, but which have been largely unavailable to her due to her royal status. Simple experiences like walking to a local shop, playing in a garden without visible security presence, or spending unstructured time without the awareness of being constantly observed are reportedly novel experiences for her. Educational arrangements have been made for Charlotte to receive private tutoring for the time being. This addresses both her academic needs and the practical reality that returning to a regular school environment would likely be impossible given the media attention surrounding the situation. Child psychologists who specialize in identity issues and family transitions have reportedly been consulted, though the entirely unprecedented nature of Charlotte's circumstances means that standard therapeutic approaches may have limited applicability. The challenge of helping Charlotte process her feelings and eventually find a path forward is complicated by the fact that there are no comparable cases to draw upon. While children of divorced parents, adopted children, and others have dealt with questions of identity and belonging, the specific combination of factors in Charlotte's situation creates unique psychological territory that professionals are navigating without established guidelines. While the situation with Princess Charlotte has created unprecedented challenges for the immediate royal family, another controversy involving different members of the royal household has emerged in parallel, adding to the sense of institutional crisis. Prince Harry, who has maintained a complicated relationship with his family since stepping back from royal duties in 2020, has made a series of public statements that have drawn significant attention and sparked intense debate about the internal dynamics of the monarchy. In recent interviews and public appearances, Harry has discussed what he describes as systematic efforts to undermine his wife, Meghan Markle, during her time as a working member of the royal family. According to Harry, these efforts were not merely the result of media hostility or public skepticism, but involved active participation by certain members of the royal family itself. Most controversially, Harry has specifically pointed to Queen Camilla as playing a central role in coordinating negative media coverage of Meghan. Harry's claims center on the assertion that Camilla, motivated by a desire to rehabilitate and strengthen her own public image, viewed Meghan's popularity as a potential threat. According to this narrative, Camilla had spent years working to overcome public resistance to her relationship with King Charles and her eventual position as his wife. Having finally achieved acceptance and the title of Queen Consort, she allegedly became concerned that Meghan's modern approach and strong public appeal might overshadow her own carefully constructed image. The specific allegations involve Camilla maintaining relationships with certain journalists and media figures, providing them with information or perspectives designed to cast Meghan in a negative light. Harry has suggested that seemingly spontaneous negative stories about Meghan were actually the result of calculated briefings from royal sources, with Camilla's office being a primary origin point for many of these communications. This practice of selective media briefing is not unusual within royal circles, but Harry's claims suggest it was deployed specifically and repeatedly against Meghan. According to Harry's account, the media campaign against Meghan was not immediately obvious to them. Initially, they attributed negative coverage to the inherent challenges of being in the public eye and to certain segments of the British press that had never been welcoming toward Meghan. However, over time, Harry claims they began to notice patterns in the timing and content of negative stories that suggested coordination rather than coincidence. Stories would appear at moments when they seemed designed to cause maximum damage or distraction from positive news about Harry and Meghan's work. The psychological impact of this sustained negative attention was, according to Harry, devastating for Meghan. Coming from a background outside the traditional aristocratic circles from which royal spouses typically emerge, and being subjected to unprecedented levels of scrutiny partly due to her race and nationality, Meghan found herself in an extremely vulnerable position. Harry has spoken openly about how the constant negative coverage affected Meghan's mental health, describing periods when she struggled with depression and, at her lowest points, experienced thoughts of self-harm. Harry's narrative suggests that requests for help or intervention from the royal family were largely ignored or dismissed. Rather than the institution closing ranks to protect one of its members from unfair media treatment, Harry claims the opposite occurred. Negative stories were allowed to proliferate, and in some cases were actively encouraged because they served the interests of other family members who were content to see media attention focused on Harry and Meghan rather than on themselves or their own activities. The decision to step back from royal duties, which Harry and Meghan announced in January 2020, has been widely interpreted as a response to media pressure and public scrutiny. However, Harry's more recent statements suggest the decision was as much about escaping what they perceived as a toxic family environment as it was about media management. The final breaking point, according to Harry, came when he realized that their son Archie would be subjected to the same treatment, and that the family would not protect him any more than they had protected Meghan. Harry has been particularly critical of what he describes as the royal family's relationship with the media, characterizing it as a mutually beneficial arrangement where the family provides access and information in exchange for favorable coverage. In this system, according to Harry, certain family members or their representatives actively trade negative stories about other royals to secure positive coverage for themselves. This creates an environment of competition and mistrust rather than family solidarity. The emotional weight of Harry's public statements is evident in the way he discusses the betrayal he feels. For someone raised within the royal family, with its emphasis on duty, discretion, and family loyalty, the decision to speak openly about internal family matters represents a significant break with tradition and personal values. Harry has acknowledged the difficulty of this choice, but maintains that remaining silent would have been complicit in allowing harmful behavior to continue unchallenged. Harry's focus on Camilla specifically is particularly notable given her position and history. Camilla's relationship with Charles while he was still married to Diana remains one of the most sensitive topics in modern royals. History. Many members of the public, particularly those who admired Diana, have never fully accepted Camilla's position within the royal family. Harry's willingness to explicitly name Camilla as someone who worked against Meghan taps into these existing reservations and gives them renewed prominence. The question of what motivated Camilla's alleged actions, if Harry's claims are accurate, is complex. One interpretation focuses on institutional positioning and the competition for positive public attention within the royal family. With limited opportunities for major public roles and constant media scrutiny of every family member, there is an inherent competition for favorable coverage. A newer, younger, charismatic member of the family naturally draws attention that might otherwise go to more established figures. Another dimension involves the specific challenges Camilla faced in establishing her own legitimacy and acceptance. Having been widely blamed for the breakdown of Charles and Diana's marriage, Camilla spent decades working to overcome negative public opinion. By the time she finally achieved the position of Queen Consort, she had invested enormous effort in image rehabilitation. The arrival of another woman who faced public skepticism but quickly won widespread admiration might have felt threatening to someone who had worked so hard for acceptance. Harry has also discussed the broader dysfunction within the royal family that allowed this situation to develop and continue. He describes an environment where direct communication about problems is avoided, where conflicts are managed through media proxies rather than honest conversation, and where institutional preservation takes precedence over individual well-being. In this context, Meghan's directness and willingness to speak openly about her struggles was perceived as problematic rather than healthy. The impact of Harry's revelations on the royal family has been significant. Public opinion about the monarchy was already evolving, with younger generations in particular questioning its relevance and value. Harry's insider perspective on family dysfunction, combined with specific allegations of calculated cruelty toward Meghan, has reinforced skepticism about whether the institution deserves the privileged position it holds in British society and the substantial public funding it receives. For King Charles, Harry's public criticism presents a particularly painful challenge. As a father, he faces the reality of an estranged son who feels betrayed not only by his stepmother, but by the family's collective failure to protect his wife and child. As a monarch, Charles must consider how these revelations affect public perception of the institution he leads, and whether any response from the palace would help or hurt the situation. The question of reconciliation between Harry and his family remains open but complicated. Harry has indicated that he remains open to rebuilding relationships, but only if there is acknowledgement of what occurred and genuine change in behaviour. The royal family, traditionally averse to admitting fault or discussing internal matters publicly, faces a difficult choice between maintaining their characteristic silence and addressing Harry's claims directly. The controversies surrounding the royal family took another dramatic turn when American television host Tucker Carlson featured a guest on his program who made explosive claims about Queen Camilla. The interview, which quickly went viral across social media platforms, presented allegations that went beyond the interpersonal dynamics Harry had discussed and ventured into territory involving potential financial impropriety, political interference, and deeply personal secrets that the palace had allegedly worked hard to keep hidden from public view. The identity of Carlson's guest became a subject of intense speculation immediately following the broadcast. Various sources have suggested different possibilities, with some believing the individual was a former member of the royal household staff who had direct access to internal palace operations and communications. Others have speculated that the guest might have been an investigative journalist who had spent years compiling information from multiple sources within and around the royal establishment. Regardless of their specific identity, what became clear was that this person possessed detailed knowledge that extended beyond what casual observers or typical royal commentators would have access to. The allegations presented during the interview fell into several distinct categories, each serious in its own right. The first set of claims involved financial matters and suggestions that Camilla had used her royal position to benefit certain business interests and individuals. According to the guest, Camilla maintained relationships with various business people and investors, some with international connections, who may have leveraged their association with the royal family for commercial advantage. The suggestion was that these relationships were not merely social, but involved exchanges of influence and benefit that would be highly inappropriate for someone in her position. These financial allegations included references to offshore investments, property transactions that were never publicly disclosed, and possible arrangements involving discretionary funds that are not subject to the same scrutiny as official royal finances. The British royal family's financial arrangements have long been a source of public concern, with many citizens questioning why substantial public money supports the institution while full transparency about royal wealth and spending remains elusive. If Camilla has indeed been involved in any financial activities that blur the lines between public position and private gain, it would represent a serious breach of the implicit contract between the monarchy and the British people. Second category of allegations involved political influence and the suggestion that Camilla has been far more active in political matters than the constitutional role of the monarchy should permit. The British system relies on the principle that the monarch and royal family remain politically neutral, offering advice to the government but never attempting to dictate policy or exert pressure on elected officials. According to Carlson's guest, Camilla has violated this principle by involving herself in policy discussions and potentially pressuring government officials to make decisions favourable to her interests or those of her associates. If accurate, these claims would represent a fundamental violation of constitutional norms. The monarchy's continued existence and public support depend on the perception that royals understand and respect the limits of their role in a democratic system. Any evidence that a senior royal was actively trying to influence government decisions for personal benefit would seriously undermine public trust in the institution. The guest suggested that Camilla's involvement in such matters had been carefully concealed, with conversations and interventions occurring through unofficial channels that leave no public record. The third set of allegations ventured into more personal territory, revisiting Camilla's role in the breakdown of Charles and Diana's marriage, but suggesting that her involvement was more calculated and extensive than previously understood. While the basic facts of the affair have been public knowledge for decades, the guest implied that Camilla actively worked to isolate Diana within the royal family, contributing to the emotional struggles that Diana spoke about so movingly in her later interviews. The suggestion was that Camilla's actions went beyond simply continuing a relationship with Charles and extended to deliberate efforts to undermine Diana's position and well-being. Additionally, the guest hinted at other personal secrets from Camilla's past, relationships and connections that the palace would prefer remain hidden. While the specific details were not fully elaborated during the interview, the implication was clear that there are aspects of Camilla's personal history that, if publicly known, would significantly damage her reputation and raise questions about her suitability for the role she now occupies as Queen. Tucker Carlson's reaction during the interview was notable precisely because he is not someone easily shocked by controversial claims. His career has involved covering numerous political scandals, corruption allegations, and stories of powerful people behaving badly. Yet, as his guest detailed the allegations against Camilla, Carlson's body language and facial expressions conveyed genuine surprise and, at moments, what appeared to be disgust. He leaned back in his chair, shook his head, and at one point sat in complete silence, as if trying to process what he was hearing. When Carlson did speak, his questions focused on why these matters were not receiving more attention from mainstream media outlets. He expressed frustration that what seemed to be serious allegations involving a senior member of the British royal family were being largely ignored by the press, particularly in Britain, where media coverage of the royals is typically exhaustive. This observation touched on long-standing concerns about the relationship between the British media and the palace, and whether certain stories are deliberately suppressed through a combination of legal pressure, access privileges, and informal understandings. The reaction to Carlson's interview was swift and divided sharply along various lines. On social media platforms, the response was immediate and intense. Twitter saw thousands of posts within hours of the interview airing, with hashtags related to Queen Camilla and the royal family trending globally. Some users expressed shock and anger at the allegations, viewing them as confirmation of suspicions they had long held about Camilla and the royal family's integrity. Others were more skeptical, questioning the credibility of the claims and wondering about the motivations of anyone making such serious allegations without presenting concrete proof. Reddit discussions delved deeper into analyzing the specific claims, with users in various forums attempting to verify details, cross-reference with historical information, and debate the plausibility of different aspects of the allegations. Some threads focused on the financial claims, with people knowledgeable about offshore finance and royal funding attempting to assess whether the suggested scenarios were feasible. Other discussions centered on the political allegations and what evidence would be necessary to substantiate claims of inappropriate royal interference in government matters. YouTube became another major platform for reaction, with numerous commentators creating videos analyzing the interview, offering their own perspectives on the allegations and debating their implications. The comment sections on these videos revealed the deep divisions in public opinion, with some people absolutely convinced of Camilla's guilt and others defending her against what they characterized as unfair attacks lacking solid evidence. The response differed noticeably between British and American audiences. In Britain, where the royal family remains a constant presence in national life and media coverage, reactions tended to be more measured, but also more personal. For many British people, particularly those old enough to remember the Charles, Diana, and Camilla saga as it originally unfolded, these new allegations reopened old wounds and reinforced negative feelings about Camilla that had never fully healed. Younger Britons, meanwhile, were more likely to view the situation as further evidence that the monarchy is an outdated institution that no longer serves any useful purpose. American reactions, by contrast, tended toward fascination with the scandal itself rather than deep concern about constitutional implications. For many Americans, the British royal family exists primarily as entertainment, a real-life drama that provides the intrigue of a television series, but without direct impact on their own lives. Some American commentators did draw parallels between the allegations against Camilla and various political corruption scandals in the United States, using the royal situation as a lens through which to discuss broader questions about power, privilege, and accountability. The response from Buckingham Palace followed a predictable pattern. Initially, there was complete silence, with no official statement or acknowledgement that the interview had even occurred. This is standard palace practice when faced with allegations they would prefer to ignore, operating on the theory that responding gives the story more prominence and legitimacy. After several days of mounting media, attention and public discussion, palace representatives issued a brief statement characterizing the allegations as completely false, but providing no specific refutations or evidence to counter the claims. Royal commentators and experts who regularly appear in British media to discuss the family found themselves in an awkward position. Those with close ties to the palace largely dismissed the allegations as baseless attacks, while more independent voices acknowledged that some of the claims, while unproven, raised legitimate questions that deserved investigation. The overall effect was to create an atmosphere of uncertainty where the truth remained elusive, but suspicions had been firmly planted in public consciousness.